Welcome to Unbiased and on the Fence. I'm Shane. Thank you guys so much for joining us for this Power of One. There we go. I got you unmuted. How's it going, Eileen?
It's going great. How are you?
Wonderful. So it's been a pretty quick week, I guess.
Oh, it's been a really fast week for me because we had to finish up our presentations. Those of us who took an extra week
Yeah.
for production, because mine had about 80 illustrations in it in
Oh my
40 minutes.
gosh.
Yeah, so mine was just pure production to get videos and illustrations, at least 80 of them shown in 40 minutes. How about you? Tell me about yours.
Well, let's see. I have about 52 Mandela effect comparisons for people to enjoy towards the end. That's sort of kind of the
That's big.
surprise. And it's based off of the 50 that I did before. Actually, I left the title as 50, but there's really 52 there. So you get two bonus ones. You don't realize it. But I didn't have that original file with the Mandela effect flying out where I had the 50 on there. So I couldn't change the number on it. So there's actually 52 there. Some are from before, but there's some new ones on there that are some really good ones, like Stofers. You got to have that on the list because
Oh,
so
yeah,
many people remember Stofers, stovetop stuffing. Yet,
absolutely.
if you are new to this channel or you're new to this idea, Stofers, stovetop stuffing has never existed in this reality.
It was Kraft stovetop. I can't say it. Kraft stovetop stuffing. It
Yeah,
doesn't roll off the tongue like Stouffer's stovetop stuffing does.
right. So if you remember Stouffer's stovetop stuffing, you are in the right crowd here with the Mandela affected people.
Yes.
Well, most of us are Mandela affected. It's not a
Yeah,
requirement or anything.
it's not a requirement, but I think that's how we came together.
Yeah, it's been really a divine gathering. So we opened it up with the Mandela Effect Conference opener, the little 30-second promo. We've got that coming out. We're really excited about that. It's going to be all online, all free. So you can go to IMEC.world and sign up for that, or just head on over to the IMEC, or you have to actually type it in, International Mandela Effect Conference YouTube channel.
That's the
And
channel.
that's where it's going to be aired. Yeah.
That's cool. So International Mandela Effect Conference is what you type in on YouTube, and online you type in imec.world.
Yeah. That's
Okay,
cool, huh?
I got it memorized.
IMEC.world. That's a cool.
It really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Once we heard that you could even do that, we're like, yes, definitely. Let's
That
see.
was
Let's
super
go with
cool.
that.
It'd be a great YouTube channel name too, but nobody would know what it means yet. If you
Right.
saw imec.world, you'd be like, well, what is that? So at
Right.
least spelling it out on YouTube is making it a little more obvious for people who want to go and watch the whole. How many days is it? It's because I know we're taking Sunday off, but isn't the quantum businessman Chris Anatra doing something on the Sunday? I think he is. I think he's doing a Father's Day video.
Right. I believe there's going to be a premiere scheduled for that Sunday if people want to join in and watch that.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it truly is, let's see, Saturday the 20th and a premiere on Sunday, which is
Hmm.
Father's Day, the 21st. And then we're rolling from, let's see, when is the 26th? Is that the Saturday or the Friday?
That's a good question.
Let's
It
take a
is.
look. I think it's a Saturday because that's our party day.
No, that's Friday. So
Friday.
we start on the 20th. We have the premiere, which is actually nothing interactive on that Sunday. That's Father's Day, but there will be something to watch there, and I think someone else is actually putting something together to premiere on there. So there will be some stuff to watch on the channel that day, but no interactive with. Actually, there'll be interaction with each other. So
Yeah, for the live chat, but the
right,
interaction that we're talking about is people in the chat interacting with the speakers
yeah, which is
on the
how it's going to
YouTube
be.
channel, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's
So
how
they
it's
can
going
ask
to be.
questions.
So it's going to be Mondays the 22nd, and then Fridays the 26th. So those 5 days right there, 26th.
And you and I are on the same day. We're on Monday the 22nd, which is a really cool
Yep,
date because it's June 22nd, 2020.
yep,
So there are 4 2s in there.
that's awesome.
So
Yeah,
we
I
should
love that.
look up the meaning of angel number 2222
Yeah.
and figure out what the message is there.
Yeah, we can do something Friday or special that Saturday night, the 20th, the opening day, because I think we're going to be finishing up the festivities and heading right over to our channel. So we're
I
supposed
hope
to
so.
finish.
Will we be late next Saturday? Because is it next Saturday? Or no,
I think
it's yeah, it is. No, it's only the 6th today.
you're right. Yeah,
So we
it's
got two
two
weeks.
weeks. Yep.
So if it starts
We'll
at
know more next week because
yeah,
because run times are kind of wonky right now when she
but if it
doesn't
starts
know
at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time,
and it
so
finishes at 8.
and it finishes at 8,
Yeah,
we might just be like our normal late. Like we're
right,
always late.
right. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, guys, we had some technical issues and we were talking about stuff, and it was later tonight than usual.
That's right. Yeah, I had a problem with my touchscreen on my phone not working, so that had me late getting to you. I was like, "Come on, work, work, work." It was like kind of sensing I was doing something, but I couldn't swipe. It would like just think I was touching it over. I was like, "Oh my gosh." So frustrating, but
Well, we got there. We got there in the
we
end,
made
didn't
it.
we?
We
We
made
made
it.
it. So, you do you have some video for us tonight? Are you going to show us
I do.
something?
So, okay, so I didn't share the last story. I did with you when we went off the air last week, and
Hmm.
I meant to talk about it or whatever. And it's really cool because we didn't get it on video. I did get something after that on video, but the story that I had the night, and this happened to Eileen and I, and in the same night. So I'm sitting outside in my car, and my wife is sitting in the car with me, and I have the sunroof open, and something gets my attention. And I look up, and I live right by the airport, so there's always stuff flying around, you know. So I looked up. It wasn't an airplane. It was, well, I couldn't tell because my eyes were adjusting. So it looked like it could be an airplane, like flying towards me with the landing light on. But as my eyes adjusted, I didn't see any kind of flashing lights, like because typically you can see them flashing on the wings or something. But then again, I thought maybe I'm just being blinded by that landing light because sometimes you just can't see it when it's so bright. And it was kind of a golden. If it was a landing light on a plane, it would have been the old style bulb that has the golden glow to it rather than these newer blue, bright, perfectly white looking bulbs. So I knew it wasn't a satellite. It was way too big and bright to be a satellite. But, and then just as I noticed it, I had my wife look, and she like looks and she's trying to see. And then she looks down to like lower the window because it was a little bit awkward for her to try to see through the window. So she was going to kind of look out the window instead, you know, out the sunroof. So she went to lower it down and looked away, and it like phased out over like about a 2 second period. It just dim, 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 and went out. So she looked back up and it was gone, right? And I didn't know she didn't see it phase out. I'm like, oh my God, it phased out. That wasn't, you know, a light turning off or something because it phased out way slower and drawn out than if it had been a plane and the light turned off. But that's what she thought. She goes, are you sure it isn't just a plane with the light turning off on it? And that's what you thought about your instance that happened the same exact night. So tell me about yours.
Exactly. This was so weird because I didn't mention it to you because I'm like, oh, I'll never know what it was. So I didn't mention it, but Shane and I saw the same thing on the same night, but it sounds like I might have seen it like an hour earlier. Like mine was at like 10 p.m. and yours was like at 11 p.m.,
My time, which would have been 12
which would have been
for
midnight my
you.
time.
Yeah.
So I either could have the time wrong, but for some reason that night, I think it was the night before we did our show. I think it was Friday night, right? I
Hmm.
went and sat on the balcony and it was dark. And it gets dark here about 8:30, quite late, 8:30 or 9. So it was like an hour after the sun went down and the dogs were sitting out there with me, and I was just enjoying the night sky, and it was perfectly clear, no clouds. And suddenly I see this yellow light quite low on the horizon, not way up where the stars and the satellites are. So it was kind of like even with my eyes or slightly above, like right between where my eyes are and the top of the stars.
Hmm.
And it just got brighter and brighter and brighter. And it was yellow. And I was like, whoa, that is big and bright. And whenever I see those, I think, is that a UFO? And then you wait. And as it goes left or right or over you, you see the red and green twinkling lights
Yeah.
on the wings. And you're
Right.
like, oh, it's an airplane. I
Right.
always wait for those twinkling lights because they
Yep.
tell me it's an airplane, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
So this one just got over a period of, I don't know, 5 seconds, maybe 10 seconds, brighter and brighter and brighter till it looked like kind of the ball behind you that's got all the plasma in it, quite
Hmm.
big. Like for me, it was the size of a grapefruit in the sky, which is
Wow.
huge. And then it just phased out. It didn't go up, it didn't go left, it didn't go right, because I was waiting for it to shoot off in one direction or the other to prove to me.
But it just dimmed out for you
It
too?
just phased out. It just dimmed out very quickly. Mine wasn't super slow. It was a few seconds. It was like it, and it faded almost like it was going far, far away, like it was going backwards as the
Right,
light shrunk. It made it look, because the light was shrinking, like it was out going in reverse.
right.
And then poof, it's gone.
I'd like to say it looked like it maybe slowly got transparent, but from my point of view, it's like it didn't get like the circle didn't get smaller. It just got dimmer. So it was maybe that's what it. I've never seen something go out of this dimension into the next. I've only seen it in Hollywood, so it could just look like it gets dim. You know what I mean?
A phase out in dimensions. I mean, that's how they say that interstellar travel is done. So if we are being visited,
Yeah,
we're obviously being visited interdimensionally. Even if they come from our same dimension, they have to go out of the dimension and then instantly pop into ours, because they
right.
can't get there over the time it would take to actually travel that distance. So when we say they're traveling interdimensionally, they could be from our dimension and from our galaxy, even from our solar system, but they need to phase out to
Right.
get here quickly.
They might have a big city overlaid on ours and just, you know
Yeah,
what I mean? For all we
yeah.
know.
I mean, that would be a
So,
truly interdimensional being who lives
yeah,
in the same place as us, but in a different dimension.
yeah. Totally could be. I mean, what do we know,
What do we know? We've figured out here we don't know much, don't we? We're just like, we
Right.
don't know much here, but we sure do question everything. And
Yeah.
then after you told me that story,
Yeah.
I put a movie on. Do you remember what it was called? I don't.
It
I
was
just,
called, I just remember it said UFO or something in the beginning because I wondered if it was like a UFO TV show or
it was a movie
it
about
might have been
UFOs.
like from,
Yeah.
a, that might have been who produced it or
It
something.
was
I
on
can't remember.
Prime, Amazon Prime, and I just put it on the TV, and it
And
was
recorded it with your
late,
phone. Yeah.
and I recorded it for you with
Right.
my phone, and I probably deleted it by now, because the beginning of the movie was just this yellow light, like a landing light that you're
Yeah.
talking about on a plane, getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Do you remember?
Yeah. That
Just
was
like
so
we
cool.
saw.
And that was
And I'm
right
like,
after we hung up. That was like right
right
after we.
after we hung up.
So last week we did the show, right? And then right after we got off, I was like, oh, I meant to bring up that. And then I told my story. She's like, oh my gosh, the same thing happened
I
to me
thought the
last
same
night.
thing.
Now, I wanted to add to that, besides that synchronistic thing happening right after that, where you see it on the show, this movie you're about to watch, in the opening sequence, it's got this,
Yellow
like,
light
yeah, coming right at you and
coming
getting bigger.
right at you.
Right. So what we discussed, because we were trying to figure out if they were both traveling the same direction as one another. So we were kind of like, we both said it looked like it was coming from the north, moving to the south, maybe slightly to the east. But here was the funny thing about it. For you, Eileen, it looked almost more like it was coming right at you. For me, it looked like it was sort of going more to your direction, like to the
Oh, towards Florida.
right, to
Mine
the
was coming right
southeast.
straight at me.
Right, because it was going southeast for me, but you said it was coming more directly from the north, but like in a straight line. So it wasn't. It looked like it was just getting bigger and coming right at
As
you,
if we
pretty much.
saw the same ship and the same people in it, whatever, speculating here, at different times. Like we both got visited instead of seeing the exact same event. Like I don't think my light was seeable from where you live,
No,
you
yeah. Keep
know,
in mind, you guys. I live in the middle of America. She lives on the east coast, and the
right
bottom
down by the
southeast.
Everglades.
Yeah.
Yeah. 15
So
minutes from Everglade National Park.
so I want to say we are. She's a whole time zone away, but you're almost two time zones away technically. You know what I mean?
I mean, it was supposed to take 20 hours or 18 hours to drive to Chicago, and it took 26 because of road construction. So, how far is your drive from Chicago to Tulsa?
Well, that's for me. That would be north. I can get to St. Louis in 5 hours, and I think from St. Louis to Chicago is that like another 5 hours or something?
So, you'd have to add 10 to the 26. So, you're a 36-hour drive away. But
But
then
but
when
that's
I'm
going
looking at
up.
the
That's going
sky,
up. I
yeah.
can head straight to the east, southeast, and make it to you. I just have to go through Arkansas and Alabama and
I'm trying to
Georgia.
figure out, could we see the
Yeah.
same thing at the same time? Or
Okay,
are
so
we too
here's the
far
thing.
apart?
Okay, so if it was in our atmosphere, which it appeared to be
Yeah.
to me. I thought it was like, low Earth orbit at the most. Then no, because you typically can only see about 50 miles of sky from horizon to
Okay.
horizon. You can only
This
see
is
about 50
definitely in the
miles.
atmosphere. It wasn't even up where the planes that fly at 35,000 feet are at. That's much higher for me. This was lower. I would guess 15,000 feet, 10,000 feet instead of 35,000 feet.
I
It
would
was like in the
totally
middle.
agree. Yeah, but I
Yeah.
couldn't tell. But yeah, it was just because I didn't get to see it very long, and then the way it phased out was so awkward. And that's the funny thing. Whenever I've seen anything that's sort of out of this world, sighting type stuff, my brain has a tough time realizing what it is for a moment because it tries to like go through
Justify it.
it goes through the thousands of hours of things that I've seen like that and tries to match it up,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
So, like the one time that me and my son were out in the back, and I saw it moving really quickly through just the light in the clouds moving really quickly. My brain perceived it as like a white grocery bag that was only about like 20 or 30 foot away, just blowing in the wind really fast. And it made it to where it took me longer to focus on it than it did my son. He saw
Wow.
it was boomerang shaped, but it took
Oh,
me so long to figure out what I was even seeing because of my brain trying to make it match something, because it's moving so impossibly to what your brain knows. For my son, he doesn't have all that programming, so he just immediately saw it for what it was. But it
that's
made me
cool.
realize how much programming we do have that our brain tries to just match it with something we've already seen rather than realizing it's something you've never seen before. You know
Exactly.
what I mean?
We're trying to justify it and figure it out based on our
Yeah.
current knowledge, not based on knowledge we don't have yet. I have been told by people like that lady you have on who reads people's, she's really cool. She reads people's star families, that I am related to the people from Venus, which are the Hathors,
Mm.
which are sometimes seen as lions, not always. And I've been told by other people who do the same work that I'm Lyran, which is also cat,
Yeah.
but not lion. And I've also been told Arcturian, which I believe are the blue beings that look more like people, not the blue avians. I don't think they're blue birds. So who have you been told by readers are your star family?
I was told that I have connections, that my origins are Vega, which
Okay, I know Vega.
is before Lyra, I guess, had something happen with Vega and they fled to Lyra or something. I don't know the history. I'm not even going to pretend. Something happened
No.
though. But okay, but I've had time with the Pleiades. I've had time in Orion, and I've had time in Lemuria, probably Atlantis too, but also Egypt. So
And I had
yeah,
time in this lifetime in Egypt too. And
yeah.
I'm very drawn to Orion and the star Sirius, which is just below Orion, but that's part of the Gemini constellation. And I'm technically a Gemini. But if you look at where the sun really was, because that's the false astrology, the sun was in the horns of Taurus when I was born on June 1st, because they don't take into account the precession of the equinox. So for 2,000 years, they've been telling people what their birthday is, but if you look where the sun really was on your birthday, it'll usually be the sign preceding it, because that's the direction precession of the equinox goes. It goes the opposite direction. That's why we're moving
Right.
from Pisces to Aquarius.
That's right. Yeah.
So I'm a hidden Taurian, but I'm a classified Gemini, and I've always loved the star Osiris. Was it called Sirius? Because I consider it the Osiris star because there's a tunnel, a shaft in the large pyramid from the king's chamber that points directly to that star when, like, maybe what do they classify it as, 10,000 years ago. They think the pyramid might have been listen to me, built between 12,000 to 10,000 years ago. And at that time, that air shaft from the king's chamber, which is there for absolutely no reason unless it was to provide air for people in the chamber meditating or doing ceremonies,
Hmm.
went directly to the star Sirius. So it's kind of like the Osiris star, and the spelling of Sirius and Osiris is very close.
Mm.
It's just like missing the O.
Yeah. Sirius does seem brighter than I remembered it, when I was younger. I mean, because you can always you can always spot it. In the way that, for you amateur astronomers like me, the way to spot it easily is to look at Orion's belt and kind of make an invisible line straight out to the left, and it like runs right into the bright star Sirius.
Yep.
So you'll probably notice too, when you notice the bright star, if it's way after the sun goes down, if it's close to after the sun goes down, right behind following the sun is Venus, which is
super bright. And
super
Jupiter.
bright.
Jupiter,
Yeah.
Venus, and Sirius, super bright. But Sirius is like super sparkly. Lots of blues and greens and yellows and reds, just really brightly sparkling all the different colors. And then I had a dream about Aldebaran. But Aldebaran, I looked up the star, is in Taurus. So I'm like, oh, well, I'm truly a Taurian with the sun being born in the horns of Taurus, right in the middle of his head. So Aldebaran popping up in a dream was kind of cool because I'd never really heard of that star before. Have you? Aldebaran. And didn't, with your reading with the BQH, didn't we get Zeta Reticuli?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's supposedly where the Greys come from, and I have a really good relationship with the Greys. Most people hate them. I love them.
I wonder where Zeta is. That's another star in the sky that you can find? Oh, okay.
It's in another... It's in our galaxy, isn't it? We don't see stars from outside of our galaxy, do we?
I think we see galaxies outside of our galaxy.
Yeah.
I think if we see a star and it's outside of our galaxy, it's actually a galaxy.
Just be the whole galaxy because it's so far away.
Yeah, like Andromeda. Doesn't that look like a star to us?
It does.
Yeah.
And that's the closest galaxy to us, isn't it? Andromeda.
Yeah. If you think about how far away it is, it doesn't seem like it should be a neighbor, but it is. Actually, I think we're coalescing, right?
Yeah, if we're coalescing or converging.
I think we are. I think the outer edges
everything's getting closer, but that could be part of the expansion and the contraction, if that's true. If the whole universe expands, and then contracts, we might be in a contraction phase.
Well, let me show this clip really fast, and then we'll talk more about contact or whatever, because what's funny is I've been trying these protocols for contact, CE5 protocols that we what's his name? Stephen Greer does, yeah. So I was trying those out. Let me share my screen with you. Share screen. And then I'll pull this up. Okay, so basically, let me see if I can move my artwork for you viewers. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so this is basically, I guess this was the next night after we talked.
That'd be Sunday?
Yeah, so Sunday, maybe Sunday or Monday. I remember telling Michelle was the one I told about, so it must have been Sunday or Monday, but this is what I was able to capture here. Now, I just show you it normal at first. I normally can't see stars or anything with my camera. It's not, unless they're super bright, like, Sirius, I might be able to, but you can see it was really hard to even get it.
Is it on your phone?
Yeah, and it was really hard to even get it to focus, but let's see here, that I cut out a big unfocused section there. But yeah, it basically looked like a light. Now what I'm going to do is actually enhance it once it plays through the first time, because there was some times when I left it out that it was in focus, and once I enhance it, you can see stars and other things passing by a little bit. But you can't even tell that's there. You can see a tree on the edge over here, so you can see how much it's moving. As I'm trying to, yeah. I just couldn't get it to focus once I zoomed in, so. But you can see the tree right here. You can see it's moving about like the speed of a satellite, and it looks like it's about at the height of a satellite, but it was
much brighter.
It was more golden and way more brighter than
a satellite.
Okay, here's a star right over here to compare what a bright star looked like. Not as bright as Sirius, but like one of the belt stars or something,
So it's way bigger and way brighter than a normal star.
Right. So here's the comparison of how much brighter it was. So it looked like some kind of light ship, you guys. How much have I brought on here thinking it's anything? I see stuff all the time.
Look like a plane. I mean, there's nothing about that says plane. There's no green and blue. Oh, wow.
There's where I digitally zoom in on the footage, and you can see it actually looks colorful, like you were saying Sirius looks. And that was the in focus part right there when smaller, you
But
know.
it's moving, so it's not like a
Right.
star
So I had
series.
to track it, you know what I mean? I had to kind of keep moving the screen to follow it along there. But yeah, it's, let me move back to the, I think as far as movement, this is probably the best spot to see kind of how it's moving because of how
Because
you
of the
can see
tree.
the tree. Yeah.
It's too bad you didn't have your laser in your pocket to go circle it.
I know. Yeah, that would have. Yeah, I was just trying to figure out what it was. I was okay. So at one point, that I wish it would have captured it because whenever it was going out of focus, I was just focusing on my phone. But when I was like here, when you can see this star, there was another point where I looked from my phone and looked up there and saw I couldn't tell if it shot a light out of it or if it passed the star and the star was just staying there. But there was like a smaller thing there, and I was hoping I would be able to review the footage and see it, but it's just not
In
bright
slow
enough.
mo.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
not
or
bright
blown
enough.
up slow motion. And to explain what all those things we're seeing around it, which are very artistic, that's plasma, isn't it?
Well, it's actually I like cranked the brightness and contrast to try to bring it out more. So this is what it looked like originally without all of the. So it's just noise. It brings out the noise more when it's when you turn the contrast up, but it brings out a little bit more of the detail in it too.
I think the reason I'm guessing, because I record a lot of stars for my channel, not a lot, just a few, that you can't focus on it is because it's moving. It's like when you're focusing on a star, you have to really stand still and let the camera kind of
Right,
attach to it. But yours just keeps moving.
right.
So it keeps going in and out.
Yeah, and you can see that the image stabilization causes this rocky kind of a motion because you can see the trees rocking back and forth. So that
Look at that.
rocking motion you notice isn't. This is when it was. I cranked up the. See, you wouldn't be able to see the star if I hadn't turned that up. You know what I mean? So
Oh,
that's why
okay.
I was trying to bring out stuff around it that wasn't as bright.
That's pretty bright and that's pretty big.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was pretty bright. It looked about like Venus.
I
You
saw
know.
that where it went long, where you think something shot out of it.
Well, there was one time when I wasn't looking through the camera. It just looked like it passed by a star. I couldn't tell if it passed by a star or if it shot something out of it because I didn't see
And then
before
you're
it
getting
got to the
colors
spot.
around it too.
Yeah, you can see the
And
colors in there. So I think that's from the gases, probably.
that is so cool.
At any rate, it's really cool to finally start getting some stuff here. Let me go to this
And
other
then we have a
one.
friend who watches this channel who sends us all of her spaceships around the sun all the time. She's constantly getting, we showed them last week, I think, and she sent some more this week. Those circles around the sun that you can't explain off as a sun flare or a lens flare.
All
There's
right,
too many of them.
right. Yeah, I was actually filming the sun today, and it's so hard to so hard, and then I need to go back and review the footage because as I was scrubbing through it, I thought I saw a UFO shape in there. So I need to go check it out because it's the perfect time, especially now, to sort of camouflage themselves in all of those little fuzzy orb things. As they're you look up towards the sun and you see all the stuff flying around, and they could totally be blending in with that. You know what I mean? You just
Yeah.
think it's like the I don't know what you call it, the cottonwood trees or whatever, because it blows a lot of that stuff around. And when you're looking by the sun, you see it sparkling, and I got some of that, and I wanted to go back and see how much of it looks like it could be, a craft or something, because I
I
thought I
used
saw
to have
something there.
cottonwood trees, and they don't have circles though. They're definitely like
Right, right,
elongated, aren't they? They're fluffy with an elongated seed on them because they're spreading seeds. And
right. But in the sky,
sometimes
sometimes it'll just look like an
circles,
orb. Yeah,
just an orb, just a
yeah,
blob.
yeah.
That's so cool. That was really good footage.
That was cool. Yeah, it was
I
really
like
cool.
those
I was.
colors that came through at the end too, the turquoise and the purple.
hmm So by me leaving it, I tried to zoom in a couple times and it went out of focus. I'm only telling you guys this in case you ever catch something. I was able to actually just leave it zoomed out and it stayed focused better. And then after the fact, I was able to go into the software and zoom in on the unzoomed footage.
Yep.
So it does help it to focus sometimes. And the part that I actually cut out, I went down to my house and made it focus on my house, and then brought it back up again, and so sometimes doing things like that can help. If you give it something else to
Give it
focus on, and
something to
then
focus on besides the night sky,
yeah,
and just the light in the night sky.
because I couldn't get it to focus on it for a long time. I'm like, oh my gosh, please focus. So I just finally just pointed it down and got it to change its focus and then refocus, and it worked. So
That's so cool. Now tell us about your CE5 practices, because I did them last year when I was listening to Stephen Greer's channel before he had the second movie. The second movie came out as well.
yeah, it
So
just came out this year, right?
I think it just came out this month, the second movie. I think it just came out.
Oh, okay,
Maybe May.
okay.
What's it
Yeah,
called? Do you
I
remember?
just saw it like within the last couple of weeks. It's called CE5, Close Encounters of the Fifth
Of
Kind.
the fifth kind. He's made up the fifth kind. And the fifth kind is where you instigate the contact. You invite them to contact you.
Exactly.
And he's doing this all over the world. There's groups getting together all over the world who are initiating contact because they're taking it over from the governments, because the governments are making such a bad job out of it. They're making it very, militaristic.
Now, here's the thing that's funny and I don't really know, but basically the protocols that you were just wanting me to share is, and I could be messing them up. You can watch it. This is how I sort of remembered it while I was watching it. You're supposed to like meditate for like 20 to 30 minutes and just try to connect with your star family or whoever you're wanting to bring in or call in. And after you make that connection, then sort of what I do is I imagine coming into the solar system, coming into the third rock from the sun, the Earth with the moon around it, fly into the United States or wherever you live. I kind of imagine it like Google Earth, and I vector them into my location. And then you repeat that process. You just keep imagining flying into the solar system all the way down, zooming all the way into your location, all the way into where you are, and then you repeat it. And you're just sending this vector of how to get to you. But
It's
here's the
the
thing.
it's the opposite of remote viewing. You're sending a map out there. You're like transmitting a map.
Right. Which, I know for some people are like, oh, that sounds dangerous or whatever,
Oh, I love it.
but
So what's
it,
the thing? What is
so
it?
here's the funny thing. Okay, so I've had 3 experiences since I began the protocols, but they haven't been while I was doing the protocols. It's been in between doing the protocols, as if my star family is like, saying, look, if you want to see something, we'll show you something. You don't have to do these protocols. But I'm not saying not to do them. I think it's good to meditate anyway. But I think it was sort of, I don't know, why would I have these 3
What did you
experiences?
see? What were your 3
Well, the
experiences?
first one was when I thought I saw a satellite and I wasn't sure, and then it looked like it changed speed and direction, but I wasn't sure. But then I took my laser and I circled it with my green laser, and it immediately flashed green back at me. The white didn't go away, and satellites don't flash lights at
Green.
you,
Mm-mm.
especially green, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I was like freaking out, and I did it again, and they wouldn't do it again. It was sort of
Oh
like,
my God.
on the truck on the highway, and you get the trucker to honk once, and then the little boy tries to get him to keep honking the horn, and that was me. I'm like, do it
You
again,
just did
but
it once. And if you look at the ESETI video footage on the ESETI channel, you'll see lots of power-ups. He's recorded loads of them. So you basically got a private personal
a
power
a colored one too. I mean, like a
up.
green one. It was like flying white, and it flashed the same color green back at me, and it was so quick. It had to be like mind controlled. It wasn't like they even had time to reach for a button and push a button. It was just like, oh hey, flash right back at you, kind of a thing.
That's so cool. That's awesome.
So that was the first one. The second one was the one that we shared the same experience
The
that
yellow
same
light.
night. And then like either a night or 2 later is the video we just watched. So like this has all been in the last couple of weeks this has happened, and it's just really exciting.
I think it's because of the protocols, though, because we've known each other since 2016 or 2017. And I've asked you a few times about, have you seen any UFOs and have you seen any otherworldly beings? And you said, no, but I really want to.
Right.
So the fact that now you've had 3 after having how many years of not seeing them, and you had
Exactly.
the 3 after you did the protocols for how
You're
long?
totally right. Yeah. For just since I saw the movie I started doing them.
Yeah.
And then within the
So
last
I think
couple of
it's
weeks,
connected. Yeah, I think
it
it's
totally
connected.
seems like it's connected. And the other time that it happened, that daytime sighting when I had that sort of that black blob thing flying in the sky, was right before ESETI. Do you remember? It's almost
That's
like,
when
you know,
is that when I had my rectangle flyby?
I think
Was
you
it the
had that.
same time,
I
or was
think you
that a
had
year
that
before?
like a year before
That
that.
was
Yeah, yeah. So we've had our fun. We love to get it all the time.
Well, when I did the rectangle, which was rounded on one end and squared off on the other, I looked and watched all the UFO footage for about 3 months worldwide. And there were loads of rectangles. And then I checked like 6 months, a year later, no rectangles, all like tic tacs and circles like yours, like a bright circle
Hmm.
instead of a rectangle. So the rectangle was a period of like a year, maybe 6 months, where they were seen all over the place, and then they just kind of stopped being seen,
Yeah.
or at least
Have
they
you
weren't recorded.
have you got to see that the Skylink satellites trail by yet?
No, have you?
No, I've seen video footage of it. So I imagine that will look like a sighting because it's
Is it
like a
going to
whole
keep
train of
coming?
them.
It's a train of lights. Is it going to keep coming around
I
as a
think it just.
satellite forever? Like every 12 hours, you get to see it whiz by?
I don't know. I guess. Yeah.
It reminds me of the lights in Arizona, the famous ones, but they
Yeah.
didn't go down, they went sideways. Well,
Right.
they went kind of like that.
Well, depending on your perspective and the direction they're flying by, they would look like that. Because I've had satellites look like they're shooting up. You know what I mean? But they're really just coming over my head towards me. But your perception, it just seems like you're like, what's that shooting out into space? You're like, oh no, it's just flying towards me.
Yeah, it's
So
all
it's hard
based
to
on your
tell.
perception. And then I've seen a lot of that train of lights, and a lot of people's videos, and they all look kind of attached, like one side of a giant triangle just lit up with
Yeah.
5 lights. That's what it reminds me of, because then when it moves as one. All 5 lights or 4 lights or 6 lights, they all move as one. And I'm thinking those are lights on something.
Yep. That's what it
But
seems like.
the pictures of the satellite train look just like that from what I've seen.
But I think with the Phoenix lights, wasn't it blocking out other stars in the background, or was it not? Couldn't they tell it was
I never
blocking?
saw other stars in the background. I've watched that video all over from different sources about, at least 20 times, 30 times. And I never saw other stars in the background. You're right.
So I'm wondering if it's blocking it out, though. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's
So big.
okay. So what did you think of the movie? I mean,
I really enjoyed it. I want to
did
watch
you
it
watch the whole
again.
thing?
I think I fall asleep in the middle of it because I tend to put these things on quite late. And then I'm like really excited when it starts. And then I kind of doze off at like midnight or 1 a.m. And then wake up at 2 and go, oh, I got to go to bed. And the movie's over. So I think I need to rewatch the end.
Yeah, and then you gotta rewind it until you remember parts that you saw, and you're like, okay, I'll start it here.
He had some beautiful photographs, didn't he? Of like he'll take people out somewhere to do the protocols for like 5 days, and then they'll have all these cameras and videos running on the group outside, and he had these beautiful orbs of light that didn't fly like orbs, just like a snake of light, all purples and pretty colors. Did you see that part?
Oh
And they went up
yeah,
somebody's, and then he had lights that were like arrows pointing off of everybody's third
that was
eye.
weird, wasn't it?
Cool.
What the heck was those arrows coming out their head? I was like,
Arrows.
what the? And then you could see the little beings between them and stuff a little bit, kind of
Do you
faintly.
remember? Do you remember the dancing being like up in a tree with a foot back and a hand out? It was like a little dancing being.
Yeah, there was another light being that looked like, I don't know, it was a light being on the beach, but that was later in the movie.
Yeah.
So, did you see
So
that one?
I did. It's a great movie. I recommend it. And I think it's $15 or $12 on Amazon. And I bought it just to support him, give him some money for his work.
Yeah, yeah, it's
And what was
excellent.
his
Yeah, I
first
bought
movie
it too.
called? Do you remember? I saw that too.
The first one was Unacknowledged.
Unacknowledged.
Came out in 2017.
That was about how all the governments haven't been acknowledging this. But then they had that big UFO conference, and all these ex-military men came out and pilots and said, oh yeah, we know they're here. And there's like, didn't they say, I'm guessing now, 24 groups, 28 groups. They knew exactly, the governments knew exactly how many groups are visiting Earth.
Yeah, there's quite a few. Now, Stephen Greer first came on my radar right before 9/11.
Ooh, long time ago.
Right before 9/11 happened, he had come out with this disclosure press conference, and he had
Hmm.
like 700 people that's like ex-military and
That's the conference that I watched.
oh, you saw that.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
that's
this
the
was
one
like
that I
that was
remember.
that first one that came out, and then like
Yeah.
9/11 happened right after that, and I was like, that's kind of weird. Of course, my conspiracy hat was on back then. I'm like, are they
Well,
really trying to quieten it up that much that they would do this other thing? But I don't really know
I know we always tie events together. It's like, did we do lockdown and protests that turned riotous with rioters going in with bricks being handily delivered for them because the big trial for Clinton's email started at the same time, and some of the Obama officials are now being indicted. Have you caught any of that news at all? You actually have.
Really? I've been so busy seeing the right. No, I'm just kidding. I haven't been watching any news, but it's clear they're wagging the dog here, as they say, where you just flood the media with one certain type of news that's more exciting than this boring court case with all this juicy information that's coming out, but you won't
Yeah.
notice it, right?
Oh, and some more juicy information. You really have to hunt this stuff down, though, if you want to see it. But this one's out too. Um, I'm not saying that there's any connection, but Mr. William that we spoke about last week was the director of the Acme Brick Company,
Oh,
and he stepped down as the director 2 months ago. And then if you click his link with his name to the Acme as in Roadrunner,
right,
every box for the Roadrunner when he blows him, when Wiley Coyote blows himself up, it's
yeah,
always Acme, right?
right, yeah.
ACME. That's hysterical. And if you click that link and follow that he stepped down, the link brings you to Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway. And I'm like, you can't write this stuff, I don't know why it's out there, and I'm not saying it means anything. It's just there as these odd little facts that
Right.
that make this whole matrix really interesting and odd and funny and strange. And another odd fact, which just doesn't sit right in my head, is that the coroner, is it the coroner who performs the autopsy? I know it's a doctor, but don't
Medical
they?
examiner.
Medical
Yeah.
examiner.
Hmm.
The medical examiner that performed the autopsy on JFK, you're talking like I was 2 years old and I just turned 59, also performed the autopsy on Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein. And he also performed the autopsy on George Floyd. I'm not kidding you. I even knew his name. It was Dr. Michael something.
So it's not even a real Oh, wait. Michael
Dr.
Baden?
Yes.
Michael
Yes.
Baden is the one that did JFK way back
So
in the day. So
what is
that's
he,
why
like 120 years old?
he
How old
didn't
is this
seem that
guy?
old. I remember him. He's always like the go-to medical examiner guy, and all like whether it's been like the O.J. Simpson trial, they were always asking his opinion about stuff, and
Yep, yep. So,
he's
so
like
he's
always
always
the
tied to
guy,
a conspiracy. Wherever
Dr.
there's a
Michael
conspiracy
Baden.
death, he does the
That's so funny
autopsy.
that you just said that because when his name come up the other day with Floyd, I was thinking, this guy, there's no way this guy isn't in on all of these. Because why does he? There's no
He
way because
is.
he's the one that gets to go in and look that everybody trusts, right? They've kind of put him up as this family guy that you can trust. I'm not saying he's not.
I'm just
Please don't
saying
get
that if
me,
you
or
got a good conspiracy going, you whip out your local doctor to do the autopsy. You go, ring, ring, ring. Hey, we need you to do the autopsy, and
And if
here's
he
what we're
did
on.
JFK, I mean, wow. Is he like the Surgeon General where they keep swapping him out for a
This is
younger version with the same name? It's like nobody notices.
1963, right? JFK died. And then go up to 2020 with George Floyd, and Jeffrey Epstein was just over, like a year ago or 2 years ago. How many years has he been doing autopsies? We can prove it's at least from 1963 to 2020.
Right.
So I was born in 61. I just turned 59, 59, 58, 57. This man's been conducting autopsies for 57 years. I don't think so. I mean,
Okay, so let me tell you this. When I put in how old is Dr. Michael, he's the third one that people are wondering about. Hunter, Gregor, or Baden?
bought it.
85. Born in 1934.
Okay, so take away 67 years from 85. How's your math, guys?
He was 18.
Yeah, I doubt he did the JF.
Fresh out of, wait, fresh out of Wait, he's not even in college yet. Fresh out of high school?
You can't get a degree. It's an 8-year doctor's degree and probably longer to be a medical
And
examiner.
there's no way they're going to let a newbie get anywhere near.
So just Google for
JFK.
me or internet search for me. Did he do the JFK autopsy? Because it's all over media that he did JFK, he did Jeffrey Epstein, and he did George Floyd.
He was a chief medical examiner in New York, 78 to 79. That's not.
63. Just can you see if ask him if he
was
did
chairman of the
JFK?
House Select Committee on Assassination Forensic Pathology panel that investigated the assassination of John F. Kennedy.
That's how. He didn't do it at the time of Kennedy's death. He did it 10 years later as a review and investigation. Okay. That's making a little more sense.
Okay.
So he was at least like almost 30 when he did it. Not 18 years old, fresh out of high school. Right?
I'd like to see a list of people he's done.
But we know that investigation, the Warren Commission, totally botched the whole thing. Everybody says they did it on purpose, but who knows? Maybe they just weren't very smart and they didn't realize that the neck wound was coming from the front of the car while the head wound was coming from the right side of the car. You were a passenger.
All right. Let's see. Michael Brown. Which one was that? Michael Brown shooting. Was that a police shooting?
That sounds like a police shooting.
Yeah, Michael Bodden, the coroner that examined Michael Brown.
So basically, if there's ever a controversial death in America, he gets the job. Right? Totally independent, totally fresh eyes.
Okay, let me see. I gotta see.
I'm enjoying the conspiracy of the nightclub that they worked at. I saw that on the BET.com, like the BET Awards.
Yeah.
That's where that came from for me when I was looking into the nightclub. They worked together on Tuesdays.
All right.
They were buddies on Tuesdays. Chauvin, the police officer. And then they show how if you look at the picture of the man standing, telling the people on the sidewalk, stop filming, back off, whatever. His badge is completely different to Officer Chauvin's, who's got his knee.
And it looks plastic.
It's a totally different badge. It doesn't have the same colors, the same artwork, totally different badge. And then you've got the neighbors next door going, oh, was he a cop? We never saw him in a uniform. We never saw a police car. And he's wearing a different badge than the officers who are standing around him. And then he's doing the NFL kneel. He's basically got the NFL kneel and staring at the cameras for 8 minutes. I mean, the whole thing, even if it is real, is so bizarre that it's not right. It's not normal. It's just not right. It's kind of like in your face, not normal.
Almost like they purposely made it that way, though.
That's what Matt says from Quantum of Conscience on all of his.
It's just so ridiculously overboard. It's like, how can anybody? It's like they said, make sure nobody can say that.
That's what he says. It's so exaggerated as
yeah.
an effect and not an instantaneous, normal, natural, real reaction.
Yeah.
And
That's how the pushing the 75-year-old man thing down was to me. It was. I mean, it looked like it really happened. I'm not saying it didn't, but it looked so everything's looking so exaggerated.
Is that
what I mean?
Are we seeing differently? We're Mandela affected. We're seeing through the veil. We're seeing
even the way he fell seemed exaggerated. It's like, why did he hit the ground so hard? I mean, his head, and it's like, that was horrible. And it's, how could he not slow himself down a little bit? I don't know. It's like everything seemed exaggerated though to me, and it's like, I don't even know.
Is that us in our community just seeing things differently? So it all the falsehoods look like in your face, like super exaggerated. Do the normies, I love that word normies. It's so much nicer than sheeple. Do the normies think it's exaggerated, or do they think it's normal? Maybe it's just us.
I think for them, it makes them, it infuriates them.
They think it's normal? They think, oh my God, that's totally normal.
No, I think they think it's so over the top they can't believe it's happening, and it's like making them spring to action. It's like it was designed that way. Like you can't see that and not want to go do something about it. You know
We
what
had
I mean?
peaceful protests in all the cities and towns around us, and unfortunately, the rioters couldn't organize their bricks or themselves to bust themselves over to our protests. So our protests ended peacefully. Those riots are a big deal. They're very expensive
Yeah,
to pull off,
yeah,
and it's very coordinated. Those riots.
yeah. And really, the peaceful protest is really where you're gonna have a greater impact. I think because you're gonna get more numbers if people aren't destroying stuff. Because nobody wants to go out if. I mean, the peaceful people aren't gonna want to come out there if
No.
there's looting and rioting. You know what I
And
mean?
then
They're
you can
like,
call
let's
in the
just stay
National
home.
Guard and the Army because there's looting and there's rioting. So those big protests in Atlanta, LA, Minneapolis, New York, I don't know if I saw one in Chicago or not,
Yeah,
where riots occurred, they were peaceful. The Minneapolis one was peaceful for 2 or 3 days before the rioters got organized to go and tear it apart. So to me, there's a very, very win-win situation out of that. Is you've got peaceful, good people protesting something, and then you have the bricks delivered at night, and all the street cameras can see who's delivering them. But hey, you watch news, they're not showing you the street cameras of who's delivering the sometimes it's like cartloads of bricks, and sometimes it's whole pallets all the way down a road when there's nobody out there, just getting prepared for the next day's riot. And then the rioters seem to come in and start throwing them and starting things on fire and breaking windows, etc. So it's incredibly orchestrated
yeah.
to break up peaceful protests, because then people are afraid to go out and join. And then
That's exactly right. That's the main thing right there. It's like, a few bad apples spoil the whole bunch. So why not put your own bad apples in there? Give yourself the justification. I mean, I've had that happen as a driver before. If you refuse to let a cop search your car, they'll just look in the back seat, as one did to me. And I had one of those little round end tables that you might have next to, with like three of those screw-on legs. Real short, stubby legs. That was a weapon. That was a probable cause.
oh,
So,
yeah.
so as soon as he saw that, this table, I'm moving. He's wanting to search my car. I'm not wanting to let him search this, so they search it anyway. So, you know,
Well,
I didn't have
I'm
anything
just
in
saying
there. It was
it's not
just the
happening
principle of it.
organically. It's not
Yeah,
happening naturally. It's sent in to stop good people from going out.
yeah,
And it's
exactly.
also done to give an excuse for the National Guard and the Army to come out, because you got to have violence or you can't send the National Guard and the Army out.
All right.
So you got to send in the pot stirrers first.
Yeah. So I guess we're gonna have to have a spike in COVID-19 cases. Then is this what this is?
Well, this this whole situation, those
Because it seems
protesters,
like they forgot all about that, right?
they were so close and they were spitting on each other. So if every protester isn't dead within a month, we'll know that, hey, it doesn't really matter. Go out and spit on each other. Oh, I guess you can kiss again. There's ads in the UK. I don't know if they're for real, showing couples kissing through masks. mm, I love you.
I had somebody. I don't want to say their name because I don't know if it's okay, but I can just share the story because it's really funny. They went out on a social distancing first date with someone, right? At the end of the date, they just kind of went their separate ways, and he said, "Well, hopefully they come out with a vaccine soon." It sounds like a joke. I swear it's not, and I'm sorry
I
if you
know
didn't want to
we're
share
laughing
this.
again. Sorry. It's kind of like, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. So I would rather that we all get those endorphins going and we just start laughing.
Right.
You
I
know.
think everything went great, other than the fear of moving forward in a relationship because of what's going on. But
Well,
I
I
mean,
mean,
that's
that's
just me.
great birth control. If you read the 2020 and 2030 depopulation programs, are you sure that CV is not just birth control?
Yeah, it could be.
Natural birth control. I can't go near you because I might die. So please keep all bodily fluids to yourself. You're not going to have a lot of babies that way.
So yeah, so they're putting up these plastic. Have you seen them putting up like the plexiglass at windows?
Everywhere.
Okay, yeah. So they're doing that, and the places that don't have them are wearing masks still. So I guess it's going to be the new norm for to have these plastic shields up there now, and
It's
for the
separation
places
of
that
humanity. You know, I'm just gonna hug more. That's all. I'm just gonna hug people more. I'm gonna hug strangers. I'm gonna go out and hug strangers. I bet you get arrested if you give us if you give you just. I saw the hug man. Do you guys remember the YouTube hug man? Hugs free hugs, and he runs around. He was out at the protests hugging police officers, and the police officers didn't have masks on, and they were accepting hugs from Hug Man. So if that entire police force, wherever it was, I don't know if it was in Detroit or Minneapolis, doesn't drop down dead of the CV, we'll know. We'll
I
know.
need to get my T-shirt operation going again and start
What's
making hug more shirts or something.
hug more.
Hug more.
Yeah, absolutely. We got this is humanity. This is humanity. And either humanity is going to be human or what's the point of coming down here? Anyway, we're social animals. We like hugs. We're pack animals. We like to
Yeah,
get in the cave together and then snuggle really close and go to sleep for warmth and security. It's in our nature. So none of
yeah.
this is going to work. It's not going to work.
No.
No. No.
Yep, they can try as they may, but yeah, it's not going to happen.
It
Hey,
ain't.
JW, want to shout out to everybody in the chat?
Hi guys. Hey JW. It's not going to work. No way.
Thank you, Michelle. She likes my 1111 hat.
Which Michelle? I'm
Awake and activate.
awake and activate.
Yeah. I should set one
She's
L,
been having some
Michelle.
great she's been doing like call-in shows. I feel like they're like radio shows like yours, like the Love Stream, where people just call in and just chat. There's nothing better than that,
Yeah,
than just opening up the lines and talking to real people.
yeah.
So
Yeah, providing a place to hang out and stuff.
she had
That's a,
Dead GPK and Mike on at the same time, My Skies 5D. So how's that for a fun show?
right. Hey, Biker Babe. Most people here are starting to toss their masks and starting to ignore distancing. Yay.
Michigan, right? Yeah, Michigan, not
Yep,
Wisconsin, because you were in the tough state, the Whitmire state,
yep.
the Whitlash state, where they weren't even allowed to buy seeds to do gardening during the coronavirus because that
That's
would put you
suspicious.
outside, where
That's awfully suspicious, isn't it?
you might have somebody walk by who touches your breath while you're gardening and die. Or you couldn't paint houses. You couldn't go buy paint and go, I'm stuck at home. I'm just going to paint my whole house on the outside. Nope. That would just like,
Man, it's like I don't know. I guess it's the survival instincts or whatever. But there's like a certain point that I can think, you know what? It'd just be better just to go than hang around if things were like that. Like if
oh, I'm the
some of
same
these,
way. If you
you
can't
know,
hug, love, if you can't love,
right? If you can't hug, love, if you're having to start
do you
eating
really want to
people,
be
or
here?
some of the stuff that they talk about, I'm like, dude, I'm out of here. You guys can eat me when I'm
Maybe they
gone.
could make a plexiglass bubble that you attach to the bottom of your shoes. So your entire body is in plexiglass when you're outside. Like who wants
It's
to
like a
live?
big gerbil, one of those gerbil
Oh
balls.
my God.
We're just all running around and bouncing into each other. It could be a lot of fun.
So many gerbils in our lives and mice and hamsters. And we always had gerbil balls and hamster balls and mice balls. And you always had to look around and there was usually a dog chasing the ball. don't don't hit it, knock it, just leave the ball alone. There's an animal inside of it.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Michelle said, not on your night. No worries, Michelle. People can always catch it on a replay. Actually, Eileen always catches with her coffee the
Oh,
next
yeah, yeah.
morning after the love stream. So
Yeah, I'm still going to watch the live stream tomorrow morning now because I had a really busy day. I couldn't watch it today.
yeah. So I say go when you feel like going, go. Don't ever worry about anybody else.
Yep, yep.
You're never going to offend me or anything.
I often work and lurk and listen to live streams and just lurk and then hit
Yeah.
hit the like button and move on, instead of like always leaving a comment. I mean, I'm in there, I'm enjoying it, hit a like, and then do something else like work wise.
Yeah. That's why doing editing is like, I don't mind editing, but I love listening to stuff while I'm working on other stuff. And like you're doing editing, you need your sound. So it's like,
Yes, exactly.
uh,
But I listen all day long. I'm
right.
never not listening. I might not be watching it, but
Right.
I'm always listening to YouTube, and I'm usually listening to our community. And
Hmm.
occasionally I'll branch out and listen to like a Corbett report or a Michael Tellinger, one of the big channels about something interesting.
Right.
Occasionally I'll pop out and listen to something like that. I mean, we're interesting too, but
Of course we are.
of course we are.
Okay, so did we have wow, it's right at the hour mark. Have we had any topics
What do you guys
suggested?
think? You want to hit the chat and see what they come up with tonight?
Let's see.
Don't feel bad if we don't pick yours, because everybody might have a different topic. We just have to pick one.
Yeah, and we do have a set of criteria we
Yeah, we have, because we like to leave these up forever. So it has to be generalized, because otherwise you're locking in as the observer the bad thing. And maybe the bad thing will go away.
right.
Like if we did the CV vaccine, maybe it won't happen. Maybe nothing will be improved. Maybe we'll all shift to a
Right.
place that, so we can't lock that in.
It's kind of like saying, like, if you know somebody's got diagnosed with cancer, you wouldn't want to say, let's remove this cancer, because once it's removed, you're saying it's there again, kind of,
Yeah.
by
If
saying,
we say it now, it's on the internet forever, and people will be
right.
hearing as if it's locked in
But if it's
forever.
worded as, continued health and wellness or something along
Healing
those lines,
of
then it's worded in
anything.
right, optimal health and strength. Then these are things where if you are sick, you get healed. You're in optimal shape, so you're moving back into
That's our only
alignment or
restrictions with
harmonized.
the
Yeah,
observer effect, for us to put things on video and then put them online, and they're there forever, and people might bump into them in 10 years and listen, and it's all gone, it's all been healed, it's all taken care of, but they're listening to it as if it hasn't, because that was then.
hmm
So we don't want to lock things into the negative version of them.
Brian Scott is. I think that's the channel I watch where he does lots of older stuff. Didn't we watched something recently? Yeah,
For sure. Is he in our
yeah.
community, or is he one of the bigger channels that we don't
He's a
know?
bigger channel that he covers like Lob One and stuff like that.
Yes,
I think, right?
yes.
Because I think, who's the lady who channeled back in the '70s? I think I watched something recently.
Seth. He did
Yeah,
Seth.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Seth.
Seth on the
Because
virus.
there was a. Did you
Yes.
hear the virus one lately? That's the
Yes.
one we watched recently, right?
Yeah, we both watched that one.
Yeah. Let's see.
You
Who was
sent
it
it to
that
me,
said
I
that?
think. Or maybe somebody sent it to us. We get so many videos, and I always watch all the videos that people
I was
send
blown
me.
away. I was totally blown
Yeah.
away by that. Because you remember early on when we were talking about before it ever even got to the States, and we were talking about we think it'll die out, and then we thought then I made the comment like, what if it's like a wave of people being able to exit the game? People that don't want to be here anymore can take this exit, and it makes the game seem real, right?
Yep.
Not this isn't to be callous towards people who lost anybody or anything. I'm just talking about from a higher perspective. If people need to exit the game, there's no death that's sort of accidental on the higher realm. Everybody chooses how they go out and everything. So, if you believe that way anyway, that, we decide how we go. We're going to go out that way. So if somebody went out that way, it was like previously decided that way. But I liked how that Seth video went into how it's like, was that the one that went into how it's sort of like they're sacrificing their self for that because of
Yeah.
the movement that comes about from that? So
Yeah.
like when you think about this, it's
it's
like
their
there's
opportunity to leave, and they want to leave, but it leaves in service. They're leaving in service to the others who are left behind, because it motivates and
exactly
creates a movement that then changes and shifts the planet, society, humanity in a positive way. And I was like,
right.
wow.
And that came to me way before, well, of course she went way more
You
into it in
talked about
detail,
that years ago.
but
I remember you talking about
But it was
that.
so cool to see that like confirmation. But she talked about it way like decades before.
Oh
I
yeah,
just didn't know.
60s, 70s, maybe 70s, 80s. She's
Yeah.
no longer alive, Jane Roberts. But her first book was awesome. It's called Seth Speaks. And it was my first channeled book. And I probably read it whenever it was published in the 70s or 80s.
Yeah.
I
So I didn't
was,
hear about it until Case told me about it. Like, in 2017, Case was like, oh, I think Bashar, I found out through
for
Case.
sure.
And
He's still
That was way
alive.
back before I knew Bashar even.
He's
Yeah.
got cool videos on YouTube, guys. Watch Bashar. He's very positive to
Yeah.
listen to. I listen to Ramtha. Nobody knows Ramtha. A couple of you in there in the chat will know Ramtha. Jay-Z Knight. And she used to channel Ramtha on TV. You would have
I've
been
heard of her.
maybe not even born. It was in the 70s and 80s.
Okay. Yeah, I
What year were
definitely
you
have heard
born?
that. 74.
Okay, so yeah, you're probably around.
Yeah.
But in like little shorts and baseball cap and going off to elementary school.
Yep, I got the picture on my website if you guys want to see me. First day of school. That's the one where I got the little Bob Ross afro. That's first day of school. I got my
Aw,
little bag and stuff.
I
Had
wonder
no
if I saw
idea I was getting.
that yet. I've been on your website many times. I'm not sure I saw that.
Yeah, I didn't put it on the front page or anything. It's under the
Mm.
About Me section.
And I know I probably didn't read the about you because I already knew you.
Right? Yep. I got pictures all throughout my life on there, actually, for
Oh,
anybody who
I'll go
cares
look
to see.
now. That
You don't
sounds like
have to.
oh, it just sounds like fun. Okay, so did anybody like throw out any topics that they feel really strongly about? We've done truth.
It's,
Oh my God, we've done truth so much that we've probably caused all of this.
yeah. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. A lot of
Yeah.
the people I was talking, like, because I know that they say the money things, they're messing it up by paying out how they're doing and trying to fix all the businesses and they're destroying it. But I see it, I'm like, well, they might be forced to do this money reset thing, right? I mean,
Yeah,
he's already taken steps in that direction to take over the
people are
Fed
saying
again, right?
maybe this was done for a money reset. People like me, I did a video months ago about, is this about a money reset? Is this about,
Right,
and I didn't
right.
get it from me. I got it from other people, like
But like,
economists, like money people were saying that.
oh yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think you can. I think it's going to have to be reset. But I know at this point that personally, our family is doing better than ever because she was actually getting more money staying home, and then even now going back to work, she still is getting supplemented that
Ours is not because
unemployment.
Florida dropped the ball and it couldn't actually pay out any of the benefit. So
Wow.
there's millions of people, including people in my family in
So it's a
Florida,
state
who
thing then,
got
huh?
nothing. Yeah, because you can't get the federal unless you get it through the state. And if the state can't give you coronavirus financial aid or support or benefit, then you can't get the federal. And that's where my family is, and that's where everybody that we know is.
Wow.
So there's all
We
these
got ours
lawsuits.
directly.
We've been
So
told to sue the state.
okay, so this is what I don't understand. Okay, so we filed our taxes like we normally do, electronically. They gave us the stimulus through the same way that they gave us. I don't see how the state intercept. How did that state step in and intercept?
The stimulus came out, but they've missed millions of people who did file their taxes, and that's one of my family issues with some of my family, not all of them, in Florida. Nothing to do with the state of Florida, but they have 20 weeks to disperse the first stimulus payment. 20 weeks from April 1st puts you at the 1st of
Yeah,
October.
it's almost half a year. Yeah,
Yeah, so you're
it's
talking
26.
almost six
Yeah.
months now. We're going to wait for the stimulus. Now, what I'm talking about is the feds put in a fairly generous
For the
coronavirus
right for
reemployment assistance weekly of $400. And if you were laid off or fired for coronavirus, you get that, but you have to get it through your state. So if your state is not capable of putting you on the unemployment list and paying you the state unemployment, you can't get the federal
okay.
coronavirus unemployment
Yeah,
either.
we're getting she when she lost her job and got laid off, they the I guess the place she worked like paid her for 2 weeks, like a fraction of it, like a third of what she normally gets, just for something. And I think they'll probably get some kind of reimbursement from the Fed for that. But then on top of that, they sent her like an unemployment
Yeah.
card that they add money to. So that was from the state, and that's the part that's
And the state handles the federal payment as well. And we've got nothing, and our family's much worse off. But I've got some savings put away, and we're just being really tight and living off savings. We're lucky because I
right.
know people here in Florida who had no savings and had no money from the state still, and no
Yeah.
money from the feds still, and they're living on air. So,
So how many states are dropping the ball like that, and
well,
how
I only
many
know
are?
of Florida and what we've been told to do. This is Trump state. This is Republican state. This is the land of Republicans. And there's no state income tax. And because there's no state income tax, there's no money to set up people and computer systems to run unemployment correctly. So what happened was the state website, as soon as coronavirus hit, the state unemployment website crashed for over a month. And they said, mail in an unemployment application. So millions of people were mailing in like 12, 16-page unemployment applications that then had to be input by state workers that the state doesn't have. So now, then 2 months later, they started a brand new unemployment website for coronavirus. And everybody who went on there filled out an application after they had mailed one in. So now the state is dealing with duplicate claims. And there's no phones, there's no one to talk to, there's no one to email. It's just dead silence. So, what everybody's telling me from inside the government that you can get through to other departments, and I won't say who they are, they're saying join the class action lawsuits, sue the state. If you want coronavirus unemployment from your state or from the federal government, you've got to sue the state of Florida. Trump's home, well, I don't know. New York is his home state with all of his, but he's got golf courses out here in Palm Beach home, and this is Republican land, and it can't even process unemployment during a crisis. Not only that, I love the sunshine here, and I love the palm trees and the swimming pools and the outdoor activities, which is what I came for. But they started to, one of these companies that was a European company that bought out an American chain, started to work a family member of mine 12 hours a day without a lunch or dinner break. They could go to the toilet and they could have somebody bring them food in. And I contacted employment lawyers and I said, isn't that illegal? Isn't it illegal to work someone 12 hours without a food break? And he went, yeah, if you're in like California, Illinois, New York, but in Florida, it's totally legal. It's completely legal. And I
Pretty
said,
sure
well,
that's a governor thing, though, wasn't it? Who's your governor there? I'm pretty sure.
oh my God, Rick Scott was our governor, and we have DeSanto. DeSanto is our governor.
Hmm.
No, I mean, he can't do anything if the entire department crashed and the website went down. He's stuck with a bad infrastructure.
That's what I'm saying. I think it would be more in his court than it would be in Trump's, though, because
Yeah.
you know.
But there's so many rich people in Florida. This is where everybody
Well,
goes to
it's
retire if you
paradise.
can't afford Hawaii. If you
It's
can't afford
paradise.
Hawaii, you go to paradise, you go to Florida. There's so much money here, but then there's a crumbling infrastructure that can't even handle a website or
It's
even
bad.
handle unemployment payments. I'm sure some people are getting them, but it's in
In
my
Florida.
reality, it's about 50%. 50% of the people I know are getting it and 50% are not. That's a high
Uh,
margin, 50% error.
hmm.
So, anyway, enough on that topic. At least I got to talk to somebody about it. I feel so much better now. I hope you guys feel better now for making me feel better because I finally got to talk about it to
No,
somebody.
I had no idea. I'm glad it was very informative to me because I had no idea. I thought everybody was whizzing right along.
Oh, my family in Denver. I have so much family there. They just went online, they filled it out, and within 2 weeks, the money started coming in, and everybody in Florida is still sitting there, eating grass.
Yeah, I think my wife waited a week and a half, and because she thought, things it might be really temporary, and she's like, "Oh, everybody else did it, and they're already getting it." And I'm like, "You should."
Yeah, you never
And
know if it's going to go on for months and
so
months and
she
months.
did it, and then within a week or something, she was already got the card and already had the money on there. So
No, not Florida. But I think it's over now. I'm hoping that it's over and that the getting back to a kind of normal means that we're not going to go down this road again and go through all this again. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that we don't need to reset the reset economy, basically.
well, the problem I see happening right now, just real quick, is that a lot of the people didn't come back, like in the restaurant industry anyway. So now they're short staffed. The people that are working there have been off all this time, so they're having to work longer shifts than they used to work with a mask on. And
Oh,
and it's tough. You know what I mean?
No,
They actually
good work.
they should be working less than they normally do if they're having to wear those masks.
Exactly. For health reasons.
And then you would be actually getting more of the unemployment because you're not making as much. You know what I mean? And they will like supplement a portion. So if you go back part time, have more people to cover the hours basically, then people can still make more money than they would normally make for having to deal with wearing the masks. But they're working in so many hours that they're actually going to make less by working more hours. Does that make sense?
It does
That's why a
make
lot of
sense.
people, some people are like dropping their availability to like 1 day a week so they can
Yeah,
still get.
it just doesn't make sense. I know I've got family members who said we're making more now than when we were working in the mall, and of course that's not happening though for certain states. I don't know if any other states are like Florida where the whole system crashed and half the people are getting something and the other half are getting nothing. I don't know. I have no clue.
See, and I heard it was like that for the stimulus. Like we were able to get ours, but some people haven't even got the first one yet.
Oh yeah, I've
I
got
don't.
family members waiting for the first one and we've been told to wait until October 1st.
Wow.
Yeah,
Is
so
there a second one coming?
no, I don't think the Nancy Pelosi second stimulus check actually was approved. Have you heard differently?
I did hear they were trying to work on something and they were adding all this other pork to it. I guess they call it. And it's like,
Didn't go through.
yeah.
But I did read an interesting statistic that seemed fairly accurate, like a good source, okay, that the money that they've bailed out, including the stimulus check, including the unemployment to those who actually got it, and all the company and corporate bailouts for the airlines and the corporate loans and the corporate bailouts, if you took all that money and put it in a pot, you could give every man, woman, and child in America $22,000. So I'm saying, why didn't they just do that and give us each $22,000 to go out and buy stuff? That would help the corporations, get their money. We could buy stuff with $22,000. But they
Absolutely.
didn't. They gave it to the top. So
Hmm.
that's where most of the money went. Most of the money went into corporate bailouts again. I mean, for a good reason. You don't want everything to shut down so that when we're allowed out and back to normal, nothing's open.
All right. There's
Nothing.
nowhere to
There's
go.
nowhere to go and nothing to do and nothing to buy and
All
nothing
right.
to eat.
So all they did was they put out the small businesses.
They put
I
out
mean,
the
it's
small
still,
businesses, which could have been part of the new economic reset might have been to put out the small businesses. Yeah, that could have
yeah.
been part of we need to have complete control of the economy from the top down.
Well, maybe in New Earth we can have all those small businesses go and take over the big ones, right?
Yeah, maybe there will be no big businesses. Maybe there'll be a law or a rule or an agreement that we all just agree upon because we don't need rules and laws anymore, right?
I'll take
Like,
the replicator
we
in my
self-govern.
garage.
Yeah, you got the replicator, and that you're not allowed to own, like, what were they called? Anti-trade, antitrust laws after the Great Depression made it so that you couldn't own an industry. And of course, in 1990, that was all signed away.
Mm.
They threw out all the antitrust, the Glass-Steagall acts and stuff like that were reversed, that were put in place after the Great Depression so that one company didn't own an entire market. Because then if that company failed, that where would people get, like, telephone or energy or, anything that's like needed?
Right.
It's only one company providing your area and that company goes bust or whatever.
I'm trying to see. I don't think anybody's chimed in with anything.
I don't know. It was so long ago that we asked. I don't know that you could get back that far in the
I've been
chat.
keeping an eye on it. I haven't seen anybody chime in. I could have missed it. Maybe they didn't put it in caps or write it to me.
Well, why don't we just do equitable? I'll have a lot of words that I can stumble over. Why don't we do equality? But it's more than equality when things are equitable for all. You want to do that? Because it's kind of like what we went into. Suddenly, we diverged into this big, no, not everybody's getting help.
Yeah, I
So
like
if we
that.
do, equ- uh, give me some words that I can actually say during a meditation without stumbling over them. It's more than equality. We'll do equality as well.
Yeah, because we've done abundance, right? So
Yep. Fair distribution of all of Earth's resources and all of Earth's energy. I'm not talking about communism, a political system. I'm just talking about the bounty here being available to everybody at all times.
Right. What about something that's like
Oops,
those who
sorry.
need it? Those who need it most right now will get it quicker. I think that's pretty much. I don't know. To
That's
unlock
kind
the
of a good idea
funds,
too.
sort of
Great
a.
time to start the meditation now. I think that's a great idea that those who need it get it
Right.
quickly,
Yeah, I like that.
and that there is an equitable
Distribution.
of Earth's
That's a lot
resources.
of big words, though. I don't know. You can say it simply. Nobody's going to judge
I don't know. Maybe, maybe not.
you.
I never plan the words. The words just come. Hopefully, some words that my mouth can say will actually. Yeah. Are you guys good? They're good with that.
Oh, yeah. That's
Never.
good. Yep.
Yay. Okay, you guys ready?
Free energy. I like the free energy.
Free energy. I mean,
Yeah.
if the plasma's in the air and the plasma has energy, and we just need the machine to suck the plasma out so we can light up our houses and our computers and our heat and our electricity and our cool air. Yeah, I'm all for free energy. Tesla.
Awesome. All
Here we
right.
go.
All right.
Okay, so everybody just get really comfortable. If you're going to stay and do the meditation, make sure you're not driving or walking or doing anything that requires your focus and your attention. And just take a nice, deep, relaxing breath in. We're going to circulate some of that oxygen through your system. Hold it and exhale out any tension anywhere. Take another deep, relaxing breath in. Go ahead, fill up your lungs completely. And exhale it out. Let go of any stress if there is any. And finally, take a third deep, relaxing breath in. Hold it for a few moments and let it out completely. And as you breathe out that air, go ahead and let your muscles go. Let them relax and kind of fall into the gravity of what's supporting you. And now we're going to breathe in through our heart center and exhale through our heart chakra. Do this at a pace that's comfortable. Breathe in through the heart and exhale through the heart. And if you like, now is a good time to bring in a color with the in-breath. Any color you choose is going to benefit you and your body and your spirit and your mind, your emotions. Everything will benefit from the color you choose tonight. Go ahead and exhale that color out. And this time, when you breathe in through your heart center, let that beautiful, clear, crystalline color fill up your whole body and extend a little bit outside of your body. And exhale. Go ahead and send a grounding cord down if you haven't done that already. That's a color of light emanating from your root chakra at the base of your spine. Let it go down quickly through the building and then through the crust of the earth. Let it go down further and further through the earth, the different layers. Let it keep going down until it reaches the center of the earth, where it spreads out in all directions. You are now rooted to earth and you are safe. So as we continue lightly and comfortably breathing through our heart center, let us just think about doing something that we love doing. That kind of entrains your mind and your heart and puts you in the Power of 8 with Lynn McTaggart, very safe zone of protection. It gets the endorphins going and it boosts up your energy, your light, your frequency, which also protects you. And we'll virtually hold hands as we meditate and intend and pray together as masters of this matrix managers, each and every one of us, that the earth's bounty and resources and energy, which could also include food and job opportunities and money, things like that. That's all part of the bounty of living on earth. That this abundance of earth, energy, and wealth is available for everybody. Everybody, everywhere has access to earth energy, earth bounty, earth abundance. Let's see what that feels like when we're helping the earth to spread the earth bounty and energy, the love, the light, the food, the clean water, the clean air, the jobs, the money, the clothing. Let's see that being available to everybody all over Earth at once, whether you see the Earth as a flat plane or you see it as a different shape or round. And let's also look at Earth opportunities, education, higher education if that's wanted, Earth jobs, service to others. That's what a job is, serving each other, serving humanity. Let's make that abundantly available to all people all over the earth. It doesn't matter what sex or race or age or any of that. Humanity instantly, instinctively shares what they have with others, even if that's sharing opportunities. So we create a system now that supports this feeling, a system of finance, trade, exchange, a system of government if it's needed, a system of education and medicine, a system of media, letting it all serve humanity so that the systems they all start to serve everybody instead of having everybody serve the systems. That would mean that prices for corporations, they set the prices fairly on their products, so their products are available to everybody who needs them when they need them. You could still have some profit, but it doesn't have to be at the expense of those who need things that they can't afford. So we're lowering the prices to a level that would benefit most people. And having access to health care and dentists as needed. And having abundant food, vegetables and fruits, and humanely handled eggs and meat. And if you're a vegetarian, you don't have to think about the meat. Those who eat meat want it to be handled humanely, with care and respect. Let's see all of this coming out of the current situation. That the end result of everything that we've just been through together the last few months is a more positive social structure based on true equity and equality, sharing what we have and working together to make more so that there are no gaps. We are filling the gaps. And everybody who wants higher education on earth, they actually have access to it. And I'll go silent now for 3 minutes as you continue to really see and feel, visualize and hear, sense, and emotionally feel what it's like to be a part of humanity on earth that is set up to support humanity on earth in the best possible way for all concerned. And now, as you start to come back, before you open your eyes and start to stretch your neck and your shoulders and move your hands and your feet about, just really give yourself a great big hug and a pat on the back. Give yourself some genuine love and appreciation for being kind enough and generous enough and loving enough to give so much to all other people through your heartfelt intentions and meditations and prayers. And go ahead and open your eyes and your back.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Eileen.
You guys, I felt so relaxed during that 3 minutes. I almost didn't come back. I knew I would, but I think when I looked, it was like 4 minutes had gone by. I could have done 5 or 10 minutes in that zone.
Yeah. And you know what? That's what comes through with people that I think surprise them in their sessions is how much their team is proud of how far they've come and what they're doing, and the fact that we're even spending this time together, you guys. I mean, you could be just binge watching a show or something, but you've chosen to
drinking wine. And
there's so many other things you could do, but instead you decided to come here either later or now, or it's always now for you guys watching, right? And try to change the world and just hang out with us and hang out with each other. So it's a beautiful thing, and feel proud of yourself. I love that ending about giving ourselves a hug, because I don't think we love on ourselves enough.
No, we don't on ourselves.
We give that comes through a lot, that we're too hard on ourselves, that we carry around a lot of guilt unnecessarily.
And the fact that we our families, and now we come together and we just love doing this for the whole world. Just loving Earth, loving humanity, loving animals. I know we get a lot out of it. We really do. We get a huge just boost of pure, clean energy from it.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, directly from source.
Directly from source. And
sourced from the source.
Yep. But then we need to appreciate ourselves once in a while too, because we forget the appreciation of, like, we're appreciating Earth and we're appreciating God, and then we're like, oh, I'm supposed to appreciate myself too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that even came through that we can actually love others better if we learn to love ourselves better.
Definitely.
We limit our ability to love others is limited by our ability to love ourselves. So
Definitely.
That came through that if you really want to love other people really well, then learn to love yourself better, because that actually holds you back a little bit,
And as soon as you love yourself, you've forgiven yourself any mistakes that you've made along the way, you just attract to you more loving people. You're just surrounded by them because you're emanating that love that you have. It's coming out of your body, your mind, your heart, for everybody to feel. And it's going to repel people who don't want to be around loving people. And it's going to draw to you like a magnet people who want to be around loving people.
Right.
And
the fact that you feel guilty about something is proof that you can let it go, because you felt bad enough about it to hold on to some guilt, right? So you've learned your lesson. Be thankful for what you've learned through that and let the guilt go, because you're a better person as a result of that. You won't do whatever that was again, right?
And I often relieve my guilt by going, oh, I'm never doing that again. And as soon as I say that out loud, I'm like, okay, you can move on. You've learned something from it. I'm not doing that again.
Right.
I've learned.
Yeah. Because unforgiveness and all of that, it
just
harms
hurts
your body. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you don't forgive other people, it doesn't hurt them. It hurts you. You're holding on to that unforgiveness, and they're getting on with their life. They don't care if you forgive them or not. It let go of all of that. Just let it go. Every day is a clean slate. Every day I wake up with thank you, I love you. That's a Wayne Dyer thing. Thank you, I love you. Thank you, I love you. It's Ho'oponopono. And that means I have a clean slate. I'm not holding any grudges from the day before.
Liberating, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining, and give yourself another big hug. And thank you again, Eileen. You do such a great job.
I love it. Thank you guys for letting me do it. I just never know what the topic is or what's going to come out, but it feels good every week.
Yeah. Well, 2 weeks until the conference, 2 weeks from today. So exciting. So we'll have more information about that next week. All right. Lots of love, light, and unity to each and every one of you. Peace.
Bye.
Be sure to check out the website at uotf.net. There you will find the live stream schedule displayed in your local time right there on the front page. Below that, you'll find links to take the Beyond Quantum Healing course at a discounted rate, purchase our book, Mandela Effect, Friend or Foe, in paperback or ebook, or to contact me to schedule a BQH session. At the top of the site, you'll find links to help support the work I do, access the free private forum where you can discuss organizing get-togethers in your area, Mandela effects, and more. Thank you all so much for being here.